Hey everyone, today is a makeup video and what we're going to be doing is we are going to be cleaning out my powder stash. We are going to be decluttering. Fairly recently, I already decluttered all of the powders that I wasn't wearing. So everything you see here is fairly new or new. I just have a couple of them that I'm not quite crazy about and would like to pass on. And some of them I really enjoy and I will keep. So today I will show you which ones. This is part 4 of my makeup declutter this year. I'll refer you down below so that you can start at number 1. I've done bases, foundations, I've done concealers. So this is number 4, this is pressed powders. So let me show you what we're working with here. The first one is something that I bought because I was short on a powder. I was somewhere where I didn't have a powder with me and I really needed one. And I purchased this guy because it's just so cute. It's really pretty. I purchased it because of the packaging, and the packaging is fantastic, as you can see. This is Covergirl Clean Fresh Pressed Powder. So this is new. I used it a couple of times and it's doable for me. I can use it. I love the packaging. I think they just knocked it out of the park with the packaging. The packaging is cute as a button. Unfortunately, the texture did not really suit me very well and it had a little bit of a white cast that I did not quite appreciate. A little bit too dry for me. Perhaps will suit somebody with an oilier skin type. I think I may at some point try a colored version because the translucent one is a little bit chalky, so I didn't quite love that. It's fine, it's okay, it's an okay pressed powder. It's not terrible, but it's just not up to par, not up to what I expect from a powder. And although the packaging is very cute, I am going to pass it on. Then we have 2 Physicians Formula powders. These are pressed powders from the Rosé All Day line. These are Satin Glow powders. These guys are finishing powders. So one is in Brightening Rose and one is in Sunlit Glow. So there's a beige and a rosy one. And I like them both. I think in terms of what they do, they're cute. They have this little rose embossing. I mean, it's not my favorite packaging, and again, Physicians Formula tend to be bulky, and they are quite bulky, but I don't mind these. I don't mind the scent of them either. There's a particular scent in the whole line. These are very soft to the touch, and they are a little bit luminescent. There's no glitter, but there's a very subtle, pretty glow with them, which I quite like. I think if you're a fan of ambient lighting powders from Hourglass, you might really like this. Ambient lighting powders are a little bit drier because they're a baked formula. These guys are a little creamier to the touch, which I like even more. Ambient powders are not my very favorites. I think these are actually better. In quality, I enjoy these. I think they're pretty. I am going to keep them for now, and we'll see how things go in the future. But right now, I think they're actually very nice, and I would recommend them as a setting powder for very dry skin or as a finishing powder for any skin type after you've set your makeup. Then I have another newbie. This is Marcelle Flawless Skin Fusion Pressed Powder. My color is Ivory here, and it is a very new to me powder, so I actually haven't formed a complete opinion about it. It looks like this. The color is really good for me, actually. The color is really working out for my pay list, for when I'm at my pay list, I should say. It's a firmly pressed powder. It's not really particularly creamy, and it is a little bit mattifying. It is a bit mattifying, so it does not have a ton of pigment to it, so it's not really a powder foundation. I am not quite sure what I think about it. So far, I'm not really capable of making a decision about it. Fusion thing, right? Skin fusion. I'm expecting it to be much more one with my skin than it is, in fact, when I wear it. But I'll give it a more of a chance, and then I'll tell you how I feel about it. So this one's still gonna stay for now. The next one is from Marcelle as well. This is Monochromatic Pressed Powder, translucent. This one's a little bit softer to touch with very minimal pigment again. I'm not sure. I think it highlights texture a little bit, but I am going to go ahead and give it more of a fair go and see if I like it. But so far, it hasn't impressed me tremendously, but I barely used it. I used it only a few times, and it has worked okay those times. Not sure how I feel about it, but we'll keep it for now because I'm not sure how I feel about it. And then we have a drugstore gem, and I think it's the last, no, I have a couple more drugstore powders. I've been into drugstore powders, as you can see. I'm not sure that I can report huge success, but I've been trying. We have Rimmel London's Stay Matte Powder. This one is in Creamy Natural 011. And this powder is terrible in terms of packaging, but awesome in terms of fixative power. It's a fixator. It really like mattifies and keeps everything on. I've been buying it for years since school, like since high school probably. I've been buying this Stay Matte formula. It's awesome. I really don't like Rimmel for a lot of things, but this particular powder, this is a repurchased powder for me, and I apply it whenever I want to really prolong the wear and mattify. It comes in different colors. There's translucent there as well. It doesn't have a lot of pigment to it. It's quite mattifying. So this is serving a specific purpose in my makeup stash, really for mattification, specifically around my nose and chin, and those areas over here that tend to get oilier, especially in the summer months. So this is actually a fantastic powder, very, very oldie but a goodie. If you are looking for something very mattifying and very affordable, then Rimmel Stay Matte is actually really a nice choice. And it's been all over internet for a long time. People had forgotten about it already, but I'm telling you, if you want something to stay on a long time and you want it to be super matte, Stay Matte from Rimmel is the way to go. I am going to keep it. It's one of the few drugstore powders that I keep coming back to. There's like two that I really like, basically. That's one of them. And given the fact that I have dry skin, that's something, because I only use it in very specific small areas. But if you have oily skin, you might really be going through lots of powder. And that could be something that you might prefer to have on the more affordable end of things. The next one is going to be a Vapour Beauty powder. They did send it to me because I used to use Vapour Beauty quite frequently. I haven't purchased from them in about maybe 8 months or so, but I am a big fan of their products. They have some really, really great ones. Some ones I'm not that much of a fan of. This is one of the ones that I'm really liking. This is Perfecting Powder Pressed, and it's the translucent one. They have a soft touch packaging, which feels quite luxurious, and it's an interesting color. Not, you know, wouldn't be my first pick for a color for packaging, but it's really nice to the touch. It feels high end. It has not just a snap, but a nice magnetic closure. And the lovely thing about this powder is that the texture is airless. It's beautiful. It's very finely milled, very soft. It looks lovely on skin. I like wearing it under my eyes, which is surprising because pressed powders barely ever look okay under the eyes, and this one really does. I do have a small problem with it, and the question of repurchasing it is probably going to be answered by no, because there's only 5 grams in here. This is really not a very large amount, and the powder is fairly expensive, although the quality is there 100%. It's lovely, especially if you do like clean makeup. This brand does deliver on that, and the texture is really, really good. However, if we compare it to Rimmel Stay Matte, this one has 14 grams. This one has 5. Let's see, compared to Physicians Formula, this one has 8.3 grams. This has 5. What about the Marcelle? How much is here? 14 grams again. 5. So really the amount is about a third of what I would expect from a drugstore powder in general. So I don't know if it's a good buy, but it's a really good powder. I'm going to keep it and use it up. Not so sure that I will repurchase, but I do like it a lot. We are not doing great with this declutter. However, I did declutter my powders and I've already cleaned them out. That's why there isn't anything here that is terrible or expired. All of this stuff is new, as you can probably tell when I'm showing it to you. This is one of my favorites, and this is my summer color. This is Guerlain Vapour Compact Foundation, SPF 20 PA++. Beige Parfait 03. This is the absolute darkest I ever get, and I barely ever get to use this powder simply because of the color. Because this is the darkest I get. This is me on vacation. And is the third from the top in terms of pigment. So I keep one darker powder on hand specifically for vacation kind of purposes. Generally, though, it's not one of the ones that that I use a ton because it is so dark. I'm keeping it because it's my designated darker powder. Speaking of a darker powder is Time Secret 24-365 face powder in medium ochre. This is another darker powder. It's too dark for me normally, and it is about the same color as the Guerlain one, and it's very lovely on the skin. The texture is fantastic. I would love to have this powder in a better color that fits me better. It's so soft, it's silky, it's very finely milled, it really blurs the pores. I'm not 100% on it, but I think I am going to pass it on to my mom so that she can get some use out of it because it's new. I really like it. Again, not 100%, but I think I will probably pass it on to mom. I'll put it in the pass on to mom pile. Then we have my all-time favorite. This is Translucent Light Mineral Face Powder from Physicians Formula. I've been buying this for years, since probably college. This is a new one. I just repurchased it because I finished it up fairly recently. It has some minimal coverage. It's like a light coverage powder foundation, and I do use it as a powder foundation. This is probably the second one. So this one and the Guerlain one, I use those as powder foundations. This is probably my most repurchased powder ever. I'm buying it all the time. It's the best out of the drugstore that I've ever tried. I really, really like it. If you are looking for a lovely, finely milled, talc-free, really soft, finely milled powder that doesn't make your face look dry, then Physicians Formula talc-free powder is really, really good. I'm always raving about it because it's that good. Then we have the Meteorites powder from Guerlain. This is Guerlain Meteorites Compact. Light revealing powder, too light. Not too light, but number 2, it's light. So this is what it looks like. It's a lovely compact. It's Meteorites. You know me. I'm a Meteorite fiend and I wear them all the time. This is my favorite powder to own and wear in general ever. And I have a ton of Meteorites, which I always go back to. I really like those powders, and this one is no exception. It's fairly well used. I'll probably pan it in 2021. So this one I am keeping. Obviously, it is a no-brainer. We have 2 left. Let's start with this one. This is the Fit Me Powder from Maybelline in 120 Classic Ivory. This is new. I, as you can tell, went on a drugstore powder binge and am trying out several powders from the drugstore to see how I feel about them. They have the more hydrating line and they have the matte and poreless one. I've gotten the matte and poreless. I'm not sure if they have a powder that isn't this one in that line, but generally it's quite a nice powder, probably the nicest one out of the ones that I have. And that one is a little bit powdery, quite smoothing, slightly dry, but it is a mattifying powder, so obviously it should be. The packaging is very so-so, so you know, depends on how highly you value nice packaging. However, it is rather creamy and a pretty nice to the touch texture. Again, this is fairly new to me, so I have not made up my mind about it, but it's one of the better ones I've tried from the drugstore. I'll report back later. Perhaps I'll go through drugstore powders that I love or dislike. Maybe I'll rate my drugstore powders after I've familiarized myself with these guys a little bit more. Then we have the Lise Watier powder, and I completely and totally admit that I purchased it because of the packaging. It's just so pretty. It's mesmerizing to watch. It's very pretty. So that's why I bought it, because I couldn't walk past the pretty packaging. Really, I bought it. It's called the Stardust Highlighting Powder Duo. And I bought it because I was thinking it was going to be a highlighter. Well, I guess it could be. It depends on what you're looking for in a highlighter. This is a very, very natural highlight. So I guess you can use it either as a very natural highlighter, or a quite a luminous finishing powder, and I haven't decided which way I like it more. So right now it's residing in the powders because that's how I've been using it so far. But I haven't made up my mind about it. I haven't decided how I feel about it. I have decided that the packaging is some of the best I've ever seen. It's just so gorgeous. But I'll let you know how I like to wear it. It's a nice product. I need to have more time with it. As you can see, there are very few of them that I've worn quite a bit, and most of them are new. So 2021, I did a rehaul of all of my pressed powders, and now I'm not sure what I have there because I haven't used most of them enough to create an opinion. So we're decluttering two. As you can tell, these two are going to my mom for her to try and see if she might like them more than I do. And I am keeping, let's give it a count. I'm keeping 11 powders. That's excessive, definitely. I have a feeling that a lot of the ones that I purchased, especially from the drugstore, I'll probably be passing on because just there's something about the texture that I do not find particularly pleasant. But hopefully I will, by the end of the year, have found some good drugstore gems in terms of powder. And I'll tell you right now, I'll probably be buying my Vapour or the Lingerie Depot, one of those two from Guerlain, because I love both and I've used both multiple times. I'll be buying probably one of those in my current color as a powder foundation, as a pressed powder foundation, because this one is the darker one. I only use it in the hottest summers when I'm traveling south. So I have a feeling that lots of those will be decluttered, and I'll tell you all about it whenever that comes up. That's it for today. Let me know, do you have favorite powder foundations and finishing powders that are pressed? If so, leave them down below. I'm always interested in finding out, especially I'm interested in the drugstore varieties because so far I've had a hard time with the drugstore powders. I know Physicians Formula makes fantastic powders and I can always rely on their powders to be good. But outside of that, I really haven't had really good luck with those. So leave down below what you like out of the drugstore in terms of pressed powders and pressed powder foundations. That's it for today. Have a good day. Good luck. Take care of yourself. Take care of your loved ones. Bye-bye.